You're listening to the Overcast, your joke-making, fun-having pop culture podcast, brought to you by Oversoul Gaming. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Overcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Brooksy.
And together we're bringing you sunshine on a cloudy day. And, quite frankly, it's been a lot of sunshine in my area lately. Weather been getting up to the 80s. Had to, start wearing shorts on my walk to work and leaving early so I can change when I get there. Kind of shit. We're getting there now. Today was nice and cool, though. So, anyways, this is episode, I want to say 60. I think this is episode 60, the big 6-0. We're there. 10 episodes into season 2. Or season 3, I'm sorry. Yes. The third year. Yes, every year is a new season. That's how we're doing it. So anyways, this episode is going to be an extended media corner because we don't actually have a topic here, but we've all been watching and playing a bunch of stuff in the past couple of weeks. So we're just going to, this episode's going to be a big old fat dumping ground for that stuff. Yeah. All of us will have no less than 2 items each for our extended media corner special. And then once we've gotten through all of those things, we're going to open up the floor at the end for us to throw out any other random media shit that we might want to talk about while we still have time. But before that, the obligatory life update / small talk, as is per the usual. Brooksy, since you missed the previous episode, you get the honor / punishment of being first. I'm not sure which.
No, I mean, listen, it's it can't be any more of a punishment of what I've been up to for the past, I want to say, month now? It's been a lot. It's been a lot to catch up on. I briefly after our last recording, I left and went back to my home state of Texas for a little over a week. While I was there, and the main reason I was there is my little brother got married. But while I was there, a day into being into Texas, I started not feeling great, and I just started coughing and just like sore throat, bunch of other nonsense. And fun fact, the last 3 times I'd gone to Texas, excluding this trip, I'd gotten COVID. And I was like, oh, God, please.
I can't imagine why.
Please not COVID in Texas again. Yeah, no, I know. Shocker for all. Went to go and take a test. It turned positive, and I'm like, You've got to be joking. Like, I literally flew halfway across the country for my little brother's wedding. Like, there's just no way. A couple days go by, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Still not great, but I'm like, I've had COVID. I've had COVID 4 times so far, and I'm like, I've had enough. I know what it feels like. This doesn't really feel exactly it. Took another test, it was negative. Took another test, it was negative. And then so I went to urgent care just to go and see, like, maybe I have like strep throat or something. They give me a third COVID test, still negative, so I must have received a false positive on the first one, which was the good news. It was just a sinus infection and an upper respiratory infection that I was dealing with. But the good news is that through steroids and antibiotics, I was able to attend my little brother's wedding. I haven't talked an immense amount about my family on here, and mainly because my relationship with my family on my mom's side is complicated. Used to be very close, no longer very close. But the constant that I have had throughout my life is my little brother. I love him wholeheartedly and very deeply, and I could not have been happier for him and his now wife. The ceremony was absolutely incredible. I loved that the aisle that they were walking down, they had different different book stacks of different series that they love to read. Like there was a stack of Harry Potter, there was a stack of Lord of the Rings, there was a stack of Twilight that had these like
Oh, that's
little like
awesome.
candelabra things right on top of them to walk through. Um, it was really, really, really cute. My aunt was the officiant for the wedding itself. And my brother's wife is originally from Venezuela. A lot of her family lives in Venezuela, and I don't know if you've paid attention to the news, but this country has not been overly kind to those coming from other countries to
No,
visit the
not at
United
all.
States, especially ones that are Hispanic countries. So a lot of her family was not able to attend.
Unless you're a white
However,
guy from the UK, apparently, then you're fine.
yeah, or apparently, I also saw recently South Africa. If you're a white South African, Trump's totally okay with that. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, ah, yeah, more Elons, hell yeah. Uh, um,
A
I
flock
mean,
of Elons.
whatever. Yeah, seriously, but
Fucking
her
muskrat.
family her family, they had sent in like multiple videos that they pulled up on a projector for them to send well wishes to Issa, my new sister in law, and to my little brother Sean. But it was a wonderful, like amazing occasion. There was a little after party that I went to that was mostly Issa's family and my brother's friends, so I got to spend time and get to know them a little bit more. I got to tell some stories of throwing my little brother under the bus. That was awesome. Loved every moment of that. Um, but no, that was great. It was a great way to end the trip. But coming back home, my other couple things is ironically I stayed with my dad the week prior. The weekend after that, my dad was actually here in San Diego, which was great to see him. He was here for a work event, but came a little bit earlier to spend time with my wife and I, and we took him to go do a couple like things that he really loves, like Saturday mornings at the pier in downtown San Diego. A couple boats will pull up, and you can buy fresh ahi tuna or fresh mackerel and like a bunch of different fish that are local to San Diego for super cheap. And on top of that, there's like this little tent with like a few people there, a couple fryers, a grill, and they're literally just like taking fish that's fresh off of the boat and frying it up or grilling it or whatever it is, and it's super great. Um, that was fun. However, that same Saturday, um, our little pug, Anubis, Newbie for short, we looked over and his eye was kind of closed up at the beginning of the day. And we're like, ah, maybe it's allergies. Not really quite sure what's going on with that, but let's just give him a little Benadryl. We're gonna go and do some stuff. We'll come back, see how he's doing, and we gave him Benadryl. Left, came back, and when we came back, his eye was, and I apologize for the listeners, it was oozing some green gunk. That
Oh.
was horrifying to look at, and we're like, okay, this is not allergies.
It went from
Let's
allergies to body horror real quick.
Yeah, real quick. Like it literally looked like the goo from the substance. Like I was like, nope, I don't like
Oh
this.
no.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
Oh
bad. So
no.
Oh
my wife
god.
took it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
my wife took him to
god.
urgent care. Yeah, my wife took him to urgent care. I stayed at home with my dad, and my wife called me, panicking, saying, "Have you ever heard of something called a melting eye ulcer?" And I was like, "No, that's the story of nightmares. Are you kidding me? What the hell is
Oh
what is a melting
no.
eye ulcer outside of the obvious melting eye aspect?" She goes, "No, it's just that. It's so dogs
Well,
can get."
at least they had a name that you could understand what it is by the name, and it
Yeah,
wasn't some complicated shit like hemogliosia or something like
yeah,
that. You
I
know?
know, but could they have not called it like something easier to digest? Like I don't know, like Justin's disease or Nick syndrome or I don't know, something something that's not melting eye.
Happy Fun
Um,
Time Rainbow Syndrome. Yeah.
yeah, just something to make it easier on the palate would have been preferred. But you know what? It's fine. Um, naturally, super panicking. So dogs can get something called a corneal ulcer in their eye,
Mm.
and in very rare instances from bacteria and other different factors, and depending on breeds, like big old bug-eyed pugs can get something called a melting eye ulcer, which is essentially a corneal or eye ulcer, but it moves at a drastically faster pace and literally melts the cornea inside of his eye. And you have to act very, very, very quickly. Otherwise, what will happen is it will eat through the cornea and the eye will, again, I apologize, listeners, rupture.
Oh no.
We had caught it kind of at a good-ish time. There's no good time for this, but kind of in a good time. He ended up staying overnight at the ER for a couple of nights, which is a lovely bill I was not looking forward to. But we got him back, and we were on baby hour duty for the past week and a half, where essentially every 4 hours we had to give him a special chilled eye drop, wait 15 minutes, give him a second different eye drop, wait another 15 minutes, and then put a little smear over his eye of this antibiotic cream on top of some painkillers and some anti-inflammatory meds. And we did that for a week and a half. We brought him back to our regular doctor on Monday, and they were like, yeah, no, it looks super bad still. And I'm like, oh, I love that. Thank you. She was like, there's not much we can really recommend outside of going and seeing an eye specialist, to which I said, well, that sounds cheap. Okay. So we took him to the eye specialist, and essentially when you look at somebody's eye, it's smooth and round, and with what's happening with Anubis is it's slightly puffy, but right in the dead center where there's a lot of cloudiness from the ulcer, it's like a little crater that's in the middle of his eye, and it literally I'll send a picture to y'all later. It literally looks like a snake eye. It's quite distressing to look at. And so they were like, yep, this is, she was like, the eye specialist was like, listen, it's kind of right on the edge of the point of no return. So we have a few different options that we can do. And I'm like, okay. We can either give him a graft where we basically take a part of his eye that's healthy and put it where it's not healthy. I'm like, okay, great. She was like, we can continue on to essentially what we're doing and kind of hope for the best and see what happens. I'm like, okay, cool. She was like, if we go that route and it ruptures, we can still do a graft on it. It'll just be a little more expensive. And I was like, okay. And she goes, and lastly, I hate to bring up this conversation, but when something like this happens, and I was like, are you talking about removing his eye? Yeah, I've already made jokes about a one-eyed pug for the past week. I'm ready to have this conversation. I'm ready to have this conversation.
He said, I desensitized myself ahead of time.
Yeah, don't worry. That's the trauma work had been my favorite this go around.
He said, I'd rather that than I go boom.
Yep, exactly. I would much rather have that than I go boom. And I was like, I even told her, I was like, I've already been looking at different festive patches that put over his eye. Whatever we need to do is whatever we need to do. So long as he is happy, healthy, and has at least one eye, I'm okay.
Pug leg Pete.
Yeah, so she came back and she was it was a receipt from Taco Bell, just threw this invoice at me like it was nothing. Fun fact: an eye graft for a pug is about $6,500 in California.
God damn!
Christ.
And I was like, ha ha ha. Okay, so option 2 and 3. Let's talk more about option 2 and 3. And so option 2, she was like, yep, we can continue on with the dosage and just get more eye drops for him and keep checking on him and do a follow-up appointment next week. And I was like, yep, that sounds great. If it doesn't work and we need to do the old snip on the eye, what's that looking like? She goes, about $3,000. I was like, $3,000? For a snip? For a snip cauterized and so? Okay. All right.
What a bunch of hubbubaloo. Back in my day, we'd just give him a shot of rum, take him out back, scoop it out with a spoon, be done with it.
I mean, kind of, that's kind of, I was hoping for, I don't know, $500 and we, spit handshake on it and call it a day, but I guess that's not the case.
No, it turns out you can put a price on your animal's health.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's a lot. So yeah, that's currently where we're
Woof.
at right now with Anubis. As he's been at home with us since then. I will say, and this very well could be a placebo effect. We don't. I'm not quite sure. Jury's still out on it, but it does look like the crater in his eye is getting narrower and slightly more full.
Less
It does
cratery.
less
Oh, good.
cratery, like, and so his eye is looking still pretty cloudy, but a little bit less cloudy. But we're just babying the absolute crap out of him. And just as a heads up for both of you two, I am sending you that picture of Anubis that I was talking about, so that way you can fully understand what I'm talking about when I say it looks like a snake eye. Because it's,
Yeah, kinda. I'm just now realizing snakes and cats have the same eyes, basically.
yeah, it kind of looks like a cat eye too, yeah. But yeah, that center that you're seeing, that's a divot. That's a crater. That is not. It's yeah. Essentially, he's got like one or two layers of eye before it goes into the fluid part, um, and that's yeah. So my life updates has been a lot of downs and up of my little brother getting married, which I know he knows of this podcast. So if you're listening, I love you and congratulations. Um, but that's been the major highlight, and a little bit of bumpy roads over here.
Yes. And he's not just talking about them Texas back roads either.
No, no, I am not. So again, I apologize for not being here for the last recording and the last episode. But when you hear the phrase "melting eye," certain things take a little bit take a little bit of a priority.
Yes, I'm reminded immediately of Dead Space 2. Um,
Oh,
no, there's just a very proficient scene involving an eyeball in that game.
yeah,
Uh,
I haven't played that in forever.
if you know, you know. Well, then, I'm gonna pick it up here because, holy hell, I feel like I have to juxtapose, you know what I'm fucking saying. I'm having a porky
Yeah,
pig moment.
I
Um,
could go for a lighthearted moment if you got that.
yeah, I have to, yeah, so, um, well, you had the scare of your life. I was busy celebrating new life.
Ooh,
My my brother and his wife had a co-ed baby shower, kind of like when they did their wedding shower. That was also co-ed. The bachelor and bachelorette party were separate, but they do a lot of things together. Like, a little traditionally, in like in movies and shit, baby showers are like a woman thing, but nope, they do. They everybody comes to this one. It's not unheard of though either. So they had a co-ed thing at the you'll know this name, Nick, the Sinisippi Park in Rockford.
Yeah.
But not the side by the river.
Yeah.
Across
I know
the
exactly
road.
where you're. I don't know exactly where it was. I've been to a couple get-togethers on that side as well.
Yeah, so we were like all the way up the hill at one of the gazebos, and like nearby, like there was the band shell down the hill, and then like a park
Mm-hmm.
like a few feet away. Yeah, so we were there. You know what I'm talking
Yep.
about? Playground
Yes, I do.
and all that. Yeah, um, so yeah, we had that, and it was a fun little get together. They had all kinds of snacks. Now, my brother's white and his wife is Mexican, so they had the spread was like over here was a bunch of baked goods like cookies and then like a pasta salad, and then over here was like Doritos with homemade nacho cheese dip. you know,
Nice.
um, and it was really good though. They had all kinds of shit, little finger sandwiches, like basically sliders, like cold, like lunch meat sliders. Um,
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
And
making my mouth
it,
water over here.
and it was there was like activities and stuff too. So they had a couple of like there was a table along like a bunch of benches put together. I call it a table. We all know what it is. It's a goddamn gazebo. Um, but across all of them, they had different stations you could go to and do different things. So there was like take your photo, Life is Strange style with a Polaroid camera,
Nice.
take a Polaroid selfie or whatever, and then tape it inside this book and write a note next to it, or um, take one of these blank wooden blocks and some markers and draw a block for our baby. Just like make a block that they can play with. Put whatever on it.
Nice.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I did one that looked like a dice block because this kid's coming from a D&D family, so I thought that was appropriate. So I just did a six-sided
Nice.
die with
Nice.
the dots. And then another one, I did shapes. I did 6 different shapes across all the sides because,
That's
you
awesome.
can learn shapes. I can't draw for shit, so that's the best they're getting out of me. Also, there was a thing where one of the contests they were having is you take a piece of yarn and you try to guess how long a piece of yarn it would take to fit around the mom's currently pregnant stomach, like doing a week stomach. And you like whoever's closest to that wins because they had like gift bags they were giving out to the winners. They had trivia stuff too, so there was like a who knows the mom best, and it was like all personal questions about her, like her middle name, her favorite food, favorite color, where her and Dalton met, which I didn't get all of these right, but I knew that one because they actually met at art class at Rock Valley College.
Nice.
That I knew. So yeah. And then one of the other trivia things was nursery rhyme trivia, which I got most of it right because a lot of the shit I knew from when I was a kid. Like, like one of them was like, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. Who were the 3 men in the tub? I'm like, oh, I know this one. It's the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. I grew up in the 90s. This is my shit. I know this. But there were a few that I didn't know because I remember Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, but I can't remember what he burned when he jumped over the candlestick. It turned out to be his foot. I wrote bum.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was his ass too.
Right, I was like, he torched his tushy. Yes, but no, it was not. But yeah. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Because I knew most of those nursery rhymes, like Humpty Dumpty. What was he sitting on before he fell? I don't know. The Sears Tower. So, so yeah, that was fun, and Ryan and Carissa were there too, of course. So it was nice to see them and
Awesome.
talk to them. Ryan was very interested in discussing Expedition 33 with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were
Nice.
trying to get Dalton into it, and he was like, I don't know, I don't like turn based, and blocking and parrying is the worst part of Dark Souls, and we didn't fight it this time because he's about to have a kid, so we were like, you're not gonna have time for it anyways, it doesn't matter, you know. So your gaming days are done for a while, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but yeah, and at that point, Ryan had seen Thunderbolts and I hadn't, and he was telling me about how good it was without spoiling anything. And in hindsight, I now realize when he laughed about one thing that I brought up about my thoughts about a certain character possibly dying due to them not being in the next Avengers. Um, and now that I've seen the movie, I realize why he laughed, and it's not so much the what as it is the how, and it's pretty fucking shocking and funny.
I look forward to seeing that when it hits Disney Plus.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
like it. I'm gonna talk about that more in my media corner, though. Not here. So yeah, so there was that, and then since then the baby has been born. She was born 4:14 a.m. on Mother's Day.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of early actually, but she ended up being a Mother's Day baby, which is like for someone who
That's
just
awesome.
gave birth, that's got to be the ultimate Mother's Day gift, right? Like,
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
you know.
That's really cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so that so yeah, that is so that's cool. I haven't had a chance to see my niece yet though, but my mom, this is her first grandkid, so she was on top of that. She like went out there. Like I had to work that day. So, but she spent like probably like a good 5 hours at that hospital with them with that new baby. As other family members came in and out. I don't know if Ryan and Chris has met her yet either, but they're a much further drive away. So, but I think I'm gonna try to go meet her tomorrow. I was supposed to go earlier this week on my day off, but there were some medical complications, and Lindsay had to go back to the hospital for a little bit. Um, but everything's fine. She's fine back home now, so
Good deal.
all's well. So tomorrow, I'm thinking tomorrow I'll get to go visit my niece for a little bit before work. Is the plan? Is the plan right now? Besides that, I went to the movie theaters and saw Until Dawn, and I've been in and out of the movie theaters several times over the past week for several different movies. Two of which are going to be covered collectively on the media corner of this episode, on our extended media corner here. So, uh, yeah. Besides that, it's just been a lot more of I'm still playing Last Defense Academy when I can manage to squeeze in bits and pieces of it here. And I've gotten really drawn into where the narrative has gone because they keep throwing plot twist after plot twist at me. And it is I've discovered some things lately that have made me just even more curious. Like the more they reveal, the more questions I have. It's definitely that kind of story, and it's just baiting me along, and just I'm just so excited to see where it goes. Also, I ran into a new mechanic in the game where the holdouts that didn't want to fight end up going through character development, where you end up spending time with them, getting to know about them and their backstory, crafting gifts for them that you can give them that get them to open up to you, and then you go through this like mini game that's basically a persuasion mechanic where you have to choose the right dialogue options at the right time in order to raise your affinity level with this character to 100% so that they will get over themselves and, come out into the field and fight with you, you know. Um, and the way that you have to handle some of these situations is pretty interesting. But I'll put it to you this way. One of the characters that I hated in the beginning of the game, like one of those screenshots I sent where I was like, sometimes, as much as I like this game, sometimes this shit is fucking weird. One of those characters has since redeemed themselves since that point. Their backstory, the way that that the things I learned about them since them, I can safely say that they are no longer the shitheel that they were a few hours ago in playtime. By the way, for context, I'm on day 29 out of 100. And they've already thrown that much shit at me in terms of narrative, so I know there's a lot more to go. Yeah. So,
Fair enough.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I've discovered a second school with other people also doing the same shit, and it's just it adds more and more layers to the narrative. Quite frankly, it it the further I go, it besides the fucking brother and sister, there's not really a whole lot of fan service shit, but there is a lot of weird shit, like demented weird, if that makes any sense. Like a rich girl who for some reason wears a green tomato mask on her head and talks down to everybody like they're beneath her, but is also has a very unhinged personality is probably the best way to put it. Yeah, I thought some of the other characters were unhinged, but some of the new ones I've met, they give them a run for their money. But I like unhinged characters sometimes, so I'm excited to see where this goes. There are some characters who kind of in this story kind of fetishize the killing going on, and those people are also unhinged, but. At least they've toned it down since the beginning of the game on some of the shit that normally makes me uncomfortable in these types of games. I'm glad that they're leaning more and more heavy into the actual story and what's going on here because it's such a goddamn good story. This is very likely a top 10 contender this year, quite frankly. I don't know what to tell you. It's probably going to be, if the story doesn't end like bullshit, it'll probably be in the top 5, honestly. It's just that good of a narrative.
All right.
Yeah, it's neck and neck with Expedition 33 right now too, which also has a really good narrative, but we got some room for that later. So, uh yeah, besides that, not a whole else going on. I will say, when I went to the theaters originally to see Final Destination, there was a power outage, so I wasn't able to get in, and they were turning people away, and they were like, we might be up and running if the power comes back on later. And it did, but when I got there, they were like, no, we closed down for the night because the power, like, just came back on, and we wouldn't have enough time to set back up. So, thankfully, when I came in the next day, they had a clipboard out with people's names on it and stuff, and I was able to get my reserved seat for the same showing the previous night, which was last night. Or yeah, for that seat for the next day. And when I came back later after getting my seat reserved for the actual showing, the dude that was there when the power was out and the dude that took people's name down on the clipboard seemed like he was really angry about something. And I don't know if it's just like other people treated him badly or something, but he was like, I came in and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, you got your, oh, he's like, yeah, you have your seat already. Any concessions? And like, I was like, yeah, I'll have an icy, and he's like, what size? And and then I'll have a popcorn too. Anything else? Okay.
Jeez.
I was like, he got like progressively more angry with every question. I'm like, all right, man. Look, that power outage wasn't nobody's fault. I get it. I work in fast food. It's okay. I'm not your enemy, though. I promise you. I'm the sympathetic one. Uh, so yeah, but oh yeah, and then when I came out of the movie, it was fucking hilarious because Final Destination is very wind based. Uh, movies.
Yes.
A lot of wind going on whenever death is around. And as soon as I walked out of the movie, I opened the front door of the theater, and the wind was so strong it fucking caught the door and yanked it and pulled me with it. I thought my arm was gonna come off.
Oh
I was
Jesus.
well, here we go. I knew this was gonna happen sooner or later. To tell you something funny though, Ryan kind of beat me to the punch on this joke. When I told him about the power outage when I was trying to go see the movie, he said the funniest shit. He said, that is some Final Destination type shit. He said, go to the movies, power is out, have to leave, get hit by a bus that fell out of a plane that was crashing into the movie theater, then all nearby log trucks explode, then you wake up, it was all a dream, but you're strapped to a tanning bed getting acupuncture. So
Jesus Christ.
I was like, hey, those are all things from the movies.
That's hilarious.
References. But yeah, he's not wrong though.
No.
Anyways, though, that was my past couple of weeks. Baby shower, niece born, lots of movies, work been
God,
busy,
that
fucking ham
sounds
melts.
so much better than my past couple of weeks.
Yeah, except for the part where I almost died walking out of the movie theater, but where I got screamed at by the angry concessions guy. But otherwise, solid. Except work has been a bitch because busy, very busy. But outside of that, Mother's Day was boring, was dead. But oh, it's the ham melts, man. It's the fucking ham melts. They just buy them in droves. They bought like 8 at a time at one point, and it's like I can only do 2 at once. You're gonna be waiting a minute, so oh shit. Anyways, Nick.
So, my last couple of weeks, let's see, we went out to dinner, for the Friday before the 12th, for Sarah's birthday dinner we went to Zombie Burger.
Oh yeah, official happy birthday to Sarah on the podcast,
Yes.
by the way.
Yes, happy birthday. And I had gotten her something that I thought was going to be a little late because I wait until the paycheck before her birthday to buy it. But we got to Zombie Burger. We got to sit down. We actually sat outside because my daughter doesn't particularly care for the inside of the restaurant. She says it's too creepy. It's cool looking in there. Um, but
This from the girl that likes Poppy's Playtime and okay.
uh, um, what I got for her was the Harry Potter book set in hardcover, but Slytherin edition.
Ah, cool.
Yeah,
Noise.
comes in a storage box that opens up like an armoire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Is she a Slytherin then? I guess.
she
Yeah.
is. Yeah, her gamer tag at one point was Lady of Slytherin.
Right. Yeah, that's her YouTube name. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would probably be a Ravenclaw or Nick. You're a Hufflepuff if I've ever seen one. Like, I
Hufflepuff,
swear to Christ.
Gryffindor. I'm one and the same. It depends on the day, but both definitely fit my personality.
Brooksy too. Major Hufflepuff energy over here. I think.
Really? That's actually not what my house is.
Is it Ravenclaw? That'd be my second
It,
guess.
it is Ravenclaw.
Yep. Yeah, you're
Okay.
an intellectual. That's why. Yes. Just like Team Mystic on Pokemon. If it's pretty much one and the same. That's the smart ones.
Excuse me.
It's-
I was Team Mystic. How dare you?
No, I was too. It's a compliment. I'm
I was
saying.
Team Valor.
I'm saying. Yeah.
My wife was Valor.
Yeah, everyone wants to give all the attention to chaotic good and chaotic evil, but they forget about chaotic neutral smart people over here.
Hmm.
But after that, we went to the Blank Park Zoo for the special event that they have going around this time of year. It's called the Wild Lights, where they have none of the animals are on display. They have all these what look like paper mache light up animals type shit. Um, what took me by surprise was I was expecting to go to the zoo to look at the lights. I, however, was not expecting to see Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, Night Moon, and I don't know who that other person was. But there was people dressed up in Marvel costumes, and they were taking pictures with people, and they had even had like at the front of the park they had some Avengers music playing. It was pretty fucking cool.
So I saw that picture. I think what you said, who you're calling Ghost Spider, is actually Spider Gwen.
Yes, Spider Gwen. I Ghost Spider, Spider Gwen, one and the same. She's called Ghost Spider in the children's show Spidey and His Amazing Friends. That's
Fair enough.
one show that Willow really loves.
I'm thinking Spider Verse.
Yes. Yeah. And we did that.
But yeah, Moon Knight. You were right about him too. Moon Knight.
Yeah. And then I was off on Sarah's birthday on Monday, and I took her out to lunch, and we went to a little place in Ankeny, Iowa called Hoo Hot. It's a Mongolian grill. I've been there a couple of times before. It's always good eating. And she had a coupon for her birthday that was buy one meal get the other free. So we did that.
Okay.
It was so good. Such good food. And then let's see. Willow had her field day at school on was it Friday, so yesterday. Um oh, we redid my purple, so my hair is more purple now than not. The Iowa Wild did an event today at a little place in West Des Moines called Blue Zoo and Aquarium. Willow spends Saturdays at Sarah's mom's, so she went with Sarah's mom earlier in the day while I was at work. I went immediately after getting off of work, and I think I would have had enjoyed myself more had I brought Willow with me, because there is not much there, and it's clearly geared more towards children.
Okay.
I the lady the nice trans lady that was there at the counter when you first walk in, she handed me this paper that said, "Hey, you're free to go in. You're here with the Iowa Wild. Uh Here, take this and leave us a review after you leave." I don't want to leave one because it's clearly geared towards children, and I went by myself. I did not enjoy myself. I don't want to give an unfair review just because I didn't enjoy myself. If that
Fair.
makes sense.
He said, "I don't want to end up on your stupid opinions."
That.
You could, oh,
Because I could see them doing a review on the Blue Zoo and being like, "Oh, this guy Nick, he went by himself to a place that's clearly geared towards children." Like, yeah, I don't want to be that person. But yeah, no, I couldn't be that person. No, but I also recently went to the movie theater to see a movie that I will talk more about in the extended media corner. Oh, update on the house situation. We are closing on the house on May 30th, and we are going on the 29th for the final inspection. And then
awesome, man.
once we close on the house, it will get the keys, and then we will be able to move stuff as often as we can.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats on everything being like solidified.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to not hear what sounds like giants upstairs. I'm not going to miss that. Let's see. I've been door dashing a lot lately.
I used to do it. Honestly, I like DoorDashing. It's just hanging out, vibing, listening to music.
Hell yeah. That, and it gives me the opportunity to see more of the city and the areas around.
True. Now, she and I would drive around together while while I was door dashing, and she would just be like, she'd be my getaway driver. She'd be driving around and listening to music with me, and then because San Diego is pretty congested, it's pretty difficult to find parking in a lot of places. So
Yeah.
I would like literally like tuck and roll and go in and grab food. She just do a quick loop. And so honestly, it made it a lot faster. Plus, it was just two of us kind of hanging out, and whatever I made off of it, like she and I would just use it to go on like date day or just like random nonsense we wanted to collectively get together.
Nice. Yeah, I used some of the money that I earned with DoorDash to get movie tickets. I have tickets.
Nice.
I've my Cinemark Movie Club renewed recently, so I got my ticket for. I used my movie credit for May 29th for Karate Kid Legends. I'm going to see that. We've got 3 tickets for May 23rd for Lilo and Stitch, and then on June 13th we have tickets for the live action How to Train Your Dragon. I'm excited for all of these.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm excited for all of these. Like this
Yeah, I've said it
this is
before.
a good year for movies.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That remake of How to Train Your Dragon, like the animation, actually kind of looks better than the original.
Oh, I know.
The cartoon.
Dude, Toothless, the way Toothless looks, he looks almost identical to his animated counterpart, just a little bit more on the realistic side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of the best looking CGI I've ever seen.
Oh, I know.
Like, it is.
Isn't this
admittedly.
the first live action remake that DreamWorks has done?
It might be.
And
It might be.
and How to Train Your Dragon 2 has already been greenlit for a live action remake.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that they don't end up going Disney levels with it though. We don't need a live action remake of Shrek or Shark Tale. You know, like,
I'd be down.
no.
Yeah, I'd be down.
How to Train Your Dragon is the very first live adaptation that DreamWorks has ever done.
Yeah.
And it's the only one they should ever do. There's no reason for them to do any other movies, quite frankly. They don't. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever.
I want an abomination of Shrek. How dare you?
Oh my god. A live action Shrek is just Fat Bastard from Austin Powers.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
I would watch that. Yeah, take my money. I don't understand.
Get
what
Mike
the problem
Myers
is
to
right
do
now.
it. Take my money.
All right
Yeah.
then.
I want to see Duloc IRL. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, anything else from you, Nick, before we wrap up the life updates?
Not that I can think of.
Oakley dokley then. Yeah, a bit of a longer one, but it's been a while,
Yeah.
as they say, especially for one
Oh,
of us.
one more
So-
thing. I'm sorry.
My bad.
One,
there is one
there
more
is
thing.
one more thing.
Breaking news!
The wrestling fans of the show,
This better not take 20 minutes.
No. I was just giving a quick update. The wrestling subsidiary to the Overcast, Nick's Wrestling Recaps, episode 2 is out for the premium live event Backlash that took place in St. Louis, Missouri. I have my official co-host, Jimmy, J Pope Games. I'm excited to do the next one. For a little bit of an
So
update,
is
the next one won't be Money in the Bank. The next one will be the coverage of Saturday night's main event on Saturday, May 24th.
Okay. Can we expect to hear your co-host in all future episodes?
Yes,
of that sideshow
absolutely. He
going
is.
forward?
He is my co-host going forward with that.
Okay. Yeah, we had a bit of an oopsie doodle with the audio in the last episode, but I made it work anyways with the
He
editing.
used a laptop that he hadn't really used before. But he's going to use his gaming laptop next time. So there's that. And he's in the middle of potty training a 11-month-old puppy at the present moment. So otherwise he would have been back in his room where his desktop is. So
Oh, no worries. We have fail safes to prevent this thing going forward anyways.
Yes.
So it'll be as long as you keep doing them on Saturday nights or whatever
yes,
it is.
yes.
So All right then. Yeah, that's a supplement show to this show that'll be in the same podcast feed, but you can recognize that it's a different show by the fact that it has a different logo.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's in the same feed. I figured out how to do that, and I feel very smart for doing so. So, all right, folks. Well, that'll do it for the life updates. Now we're gonna go into this episode's special extended media corner because there is no topic. We're just getting 6 reviews out of the way instead of 3.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, here we are at this episode's special extended media corner because no topic, the part of the show reserved for news, reviews, recommendations, sometimes previews, yada yada, so on and so forth. Couple of reviews from all of us today, mostly movies and I think one video game. So I'm gonna start with the first thing I went to the movie theaters for. The latest MCU entry, Thunderbolts. This is a movie, when I saw the trailers, I was already excited anyways, but when I saw the trailers, my first thought was, oh, okay, it's just Marvel's Suicide Squad, kind of like Eternals was Marvel's Justice League. Hopefully it doesn't flop like that one did. Oh my god, was I wrong. This movie couldn't be fucking further from Suicide Squad, quite frankly.
Really?
Yeah, no, it is not at all what I thought it was. Maybe some of it tonally, and in the beginning, and sure, you could get that impression, but the direction that it actually takes was something I could have never actually predicted. The trailers did such an amazing job at showing you a lot of misleading footage, and they were edited in such a way where it showed you shit that was actually in the movie, but so out of context that it leads you to believe it's something that it's not. So when you see the actual movie, almost everything is a surprise. So I was pretty blown away by that. And I'll put it to you this way. I went in expecting Marvel's Suicide Squad. Instead, I got a surprisingly deep metaphor for depression and drug addiction.
Oh.
Yeah, it went places. And I will say, Florence Pugh is fucking amazing. I love her in everything she's in, but she absolutely carries this movie. But I'm not saying she carries it alone, though, because everyone does great. Characters who I hated in the thing that they were from, like U.S. Agent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I actually grow to like, kind of, in this movie. Yeah. So the cast consists of Yelena and Red Guardian from Black Widow, U.S. Agent, and Bucky from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Well, Bucky's been here since the first Captain America. He's the one, like old Avenger that's in this movie. Everyone else is kind of a newer face. But like he's in it, carrying on his congressional duties from the new Captain America movie. He is Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Taskmaster, also from Black Widow, and, like I said, U.S. Agent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's basically it. The villain in this movie, comic fans will know him as Sentry. The best way to explain it is basically Superman, but if made of shadow and had the power to basically send you to the shadow realm. There is basically creates shadows that if they touch you, you get sent to another dimension where you're forced to relive your worst nightmare over and over again.
Jesus.
And believe it or not, this is actually where most of the best character development in this movie takes place. Honestly. But yeah, great performances by everybody in this movie. Solid narrative. It felt like... I know I said this about...
The Void, is it?
No, it's not the Void. It's not the Void. They're called shame rooms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're memories that you're ashamed of. Well, that's what Yelena calls them anyways, but I don't know what their actual name is for them. It could be the Void, but I don't know if it's the same Void as you're used to from the other MCU stuff. It's not quite that. It's more like a terrible traumatic thing you had to witness playing in front of you on repeat on a loop.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. Yeah, like I said, great performances. It felt. I know I said this about the newest Captain America, but even more so, this movie definitely feels like a return to form for the MCU. Like, like that one. That one was okay, but this one is legitimately good. um, and all it's funny too. Like there's a lot of moments in this that are actually like genuinely funny, especially with David Harbour's character Red Guardian. He's fucking hilarious.
I love David Harbour.
If you liked him in Black Widow, then you'll love him in this. Is all I can say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and so here's the other thing too. Even though there is a lot of stuff in here character wise that is playing off of stuff from previous Marvel properties, like Yelena going after Hawkeye in his show, and the shit that U.S. Agent did to lose his Captain America title in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but they do that thing where through natural dialogue they basically tell you what you need to know in order to be on the up and up, and that even without that knowledge, though, this movie still works as a standalone just based on narrative alone. Like this is one of those MCU movies that you can just watch by itself without having done any homework, quite frankly.
Nice.
It works as a standalone movie, but it works better if you have the previous knowledge going in. But as a standalone movie, it still works quite well as a solid action flick. No harm, no foul. So yeah, all that being said, I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
A 9
awesome.
out of 10. Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's probably the best thing they've done since No Way Home, most recently, at least in terms of the movies, anyway. So, and without spoiling anything, all I will say is that this, if you go to see this in theaters or waiting for it at home or whatever, however you choose to watch it, there are 2 credit scenes in this movie, and the post credit scene, like the one at the end of the credits, is like 3.5 minutes long. It's the longest
shit.
credit scene they've ever done. If you've been paying attention to the marketing, then you've already been spoiled on what the big twist is at the end of the movie, but I will say that the post-credit scene brings some levity into that leads me to believe that we might be headed into a Civil War Part 2 at some point. Is all I can really say about that. Also, I'm even more excited for Fantastic Four now, just based on some of the credit stuff too.
Nice.
So, yeah, they're definitely they're building the foundation for the upcoming Avengers movie, and I think it starts with Captain America, but Thunderbolts is equally as important to that build-up, I think, especially the credit scenes. So, but like I said, it also works as a standalone movie if you want to just appreciate it as that as well. So, but the Thunderbolts will be back in Avengers Doomsday.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
All right. Nick.
So my first Media Corner entry is Final Destination Bloodlines.
Okay.
Oh man. Okay, so
I've seen this too, but you
yes.
first.
So this movie serves as a sequel to The Final Destination, bringing everything basically full circle.
Right, because we're out of the statute of limitations for it now. Fucking spoiler for a movie from 2017, but was it 2017? Feels like it's been longer than that, actually.
2011.
It's been over.
2011 is when Final Destination 5 came out.
Okay, so it's been over a decade.
Yeah,
So spoilers for an over a decade old movie. Final Destination 5 is a prequel.
Yeah.
It comes before the first movie.
Yes.
So that's what he means.
Yes. So the premonition happened in, I think, like the 50s or 60s.
60s.
60s. And the person who had the premonition has evaded death for decades, long enough for families to have families, an entire bloodline of people that were never supposed to exist. And I love the concept here.
Yeah.
Dude.
That so many people survived that premonition in the 60s that they went on to have so many descendants that it took death so long to catch up that years have gone by before he finally got around to reaching some of their bloodlines.
Man, dude. This...
In a way, it kind of recontextualizes the lore of the entire franchise.
It really did. It really fucking did. And this... Oh, man. This being Tony Todd's final film, the scene that he is in, he says he's going to do something after this is all said and done. And knowing he's no longer with us, that scene hits a whole hell of a lot different.
Enjoy the time I have left, he said.
Yeah.
And he told the characters you should do the same. But that scene felt, in a lot of ways, some parts of that scene, what I really like about it, felt like he was talking directly to the audience at some points.
Yes.
Apparently, they let him improv that. They let him just say whatever he wanted there.
Really? Okay.
So he's kind of spoke from the heart.
That's awesome. Good.
There was actually a lot of improv in this movie, which is why it has a more comedic tone, which is one thing I noticed. More so than any previous Final Destination movie, this one leans so hard into dark comedy that it almost borders on self-parody.
Dude,
sometimes.
I found myself chuckling quite a few times during this movie.
I did, way more than any of the previous movies, and Eric is a big part of it. And
Eric was funny.
I learned later that, they let Eric improv a lot of his jokes in this movie. That's
nice. Why. Okay.
That was a big part of it. Yeah, so like some of that shit in the hospital and that was all, a lot of that was improv.
Okay.
Yeah. One of my only real gripes about this movie is that the previous movies all used practical effects, and this one feels like it leaned more CGI, which I much prefer practical effects.
Yeah.
And there are some kills early in the movie that look really fucking cartoony and fake as a result, at least in my eyes. One involving a garbage truck in particular comes to mind.
Yep.
But the everything after that, though, in terms of kills, was actually really well done, I think. And except for the stinger, like the very, very end of the movie, that one was also a little digital. But
yeah.
But all the hospital stuff, fucking phenomenal. Like that was. Ooh.
That last kill was a little nostalgic.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Now that I'm not gonna lie. Now that you mention it, I do like though. Yeah, there was some great comedy in here though, like grandma, like grandma yelling at death, and and Eric's improv, and yeah, it definitely.
She said, "Not today, you fuck."
Yeah, exactly. Well, it gave very Alex in the cabin in the first movie energy, where he's like, "Haha, I see you. You thought you had me," that kind of shit.
Uh-huh.
But they definitely, I do appreciate it. It's just tonally, it feels. I've seen a lot of people, including Dead Meat, like James and Chelsea, have gone on record saying that they think this is the best movie in the franchise.
Oh,
And
I agree 1000% with that.
I highly respect their opinion, and I think I agree with that too. But is it because they changed the tone? Because there was a part of me that was just a tiny bit disappointed, not only in the CGI, but also the slight tone shift. I know they were going for more comedy this time around, but there is like what I noticed personally is that the tattoo parlor is literally the only scene in the whole movie that feels like the classic movies in terms of like the suspense and the build up and like the Rube
Yes.
Goldbergian fucking mousetrap bullshit and how it happens.
Yes,
You know?
yep, I
But
agree
the
100%, yes.
the rest of the kills throughout the rest of the movie feel like they're more like fast paced and played for laughs, not as suspenseful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Except for the wheelchair one. That one was
That was
painful. That one
brutal.
yeah. So
That
one,
was
yeah.
fucking brutal.
Golden Chainsaw for that one especially. I'm dancing around spoilers best I can here, but there's like only so much you can say about this. Even without the context, though, anyone who hasn't seen this, you're gonna go into it not knowing what to expect. I will say I don't like heights, so the premonition in this movie definitely made me uncomfortable.
So
Also,
I
I am never in my life. You could not pay me to go in anything that tall with a fucking glass floor. That's why I've never gone to the Sears Tower. I'm not riding a glass elevator. Are you nuts? There's no fucking way. Yeah.
I will say this is was it the Skyview restaurant, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was heavily inspired by the Seattle Space Needle.
Oh, clearly. 100%. That's exactly what it is. And I'm not ever going up in that fucking thing either. Quite frankly.
That's a restaurant in the sky too.
Yeah.
But they
no,
got it right that time.
I'm good. At least that one doesn't have a glass floor, I don't think.
I don't know.
I fucking hope not. That's the dumbest shit ever. Why would you do that?
Yeah, no.
Why?
No.
That's not structurally sound. I don't give a shit how cool it looks. That's stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care how thick the glass is either. All it takes is the wrong thing. Why would you hang a chandelier with real diamonds above a glass floor, you stupid morons?
Right.
I mean, it was clear though. It was clear though that like whoever built the thing was purposely cutting corners to get it up as soon as possible because they mentioned that in the dialogue. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
they mentioned that in the dialogue. Also, I will say I do appreciate that this movie was not shy about killing kids because the one kid that actually died in the premonition fucking deserved it.
Yes, he did. I did not
Honestly.
shed a tear.
Oh, but yeah, so that was, but that's the big thing in this movie is that the premonition that you see in the beginning is a dream that the granddaughter of the premonition haver is having, and that's why she seeks out her grandmother to find out why she's having this dream. And then grandma's like, "Oh, I had a premonition back in the '60s and saved all kinds of people, and now death is pissed off about it," and that's where the movie comes in. So there you have it.
I was totally expecting her to come out of the premonition still as her young self. I was not expecting Stephanie to wake up from the premonition.
Yeah, this movie subverts your expectations from the previous movies. It changes the formula. It
It
changes
sure
the rules.
did.
It
Like-
recontextualizes the lore. Like you think you're going into it like I know Final Destination. I've seen 5 of these bitches. Let's go. And then the movie's like it pulls the rug out from under you. It's like no,
It
bitch,
did.
we changed the rules this
I
time.
was on the edge of
Yeah.
my seat this whole fucking movie.
Indeed.
I am going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Hey.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
10.
Really?
Yes.
You went
no,
all
I
the
went.
way up.
I'm going all the way. 10 out of 10.
Justin threw
You
out
know,
an 8, and he was like, "You know what? No, 10."
It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me, but it's still the best movie in the franchise.
I love the Final Destination franchise is by far one of my top 3 favorite horror franchises, right next to
Yeah.
Saw and the Halloween movies.
Absolutely. I will say there was one potential scene in the trailer involving a revolving door that they apparently cut out of the movie, and I thought that I was going nuts because I thought that I was like, did my version of the movie have like, was it missing a scene or something? Did somebody fuck up? And then I looked it up and like, no, they just cut it
Yeah, no,
entirely, even though it was in the
there was
trailer.
no revolving door kill scene. Nope.
No, but there is a reference to it. They
Oh
do
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
they do hang on that door as if they're foreshadowing a death
Mm-hmm.
that never actually comes.
Yeah.
I think from what I heard, it'll probably be in deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, but it was supposed to be the character that you see getting caught in the door in the trailer was supposed to survive the revolving door. Like they get pulled out of it, they don't get crushed by it, but then they get crushed by a letter falling off the hospital sign. So, but since that was cut from the movie, that character's fate ends up being something else later.
Yep.
So
Sure does.
so, but not too dissimilar.
No.
Anyways,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, yeah, Final Destination, Bloodlines in theaters now.
Such a good movie.
It was.
Oh my God.
I really enjoyed it. I can't get past how fucking cartoony some of the kills looked, and that bothers me. I prefer practical effects, and I had to take a point away for that.
Kind of took me by surprise too, but it.
It's just there are a couple scenes where you can see that it's clearly CGI,
Oh, absolutely.
similar to the ladder in the eye scene from the second movie.
Uh-huh.
You know, yeah. But then there are other scenes where it looks like practical effects. So I think they used both. It just depended on the kill.
Mhm.
Some of those, though, some of the ones they CGI'd, they could have done practically if they really wanted to. So that's fine. Brooksy, what do you got first?
Yeah. For my first one, I want to go. I want to go with one that I'm most excited to talk about, and also the freshest on my mind. Equally, I want to dedicate a little bit more time than my other media corner entry, which is talking about Expedition 33. I have officially rolled credits on this game. It took me about 25 hours to complete the main campaign. Very easily could have been a 45, 50 hour long if I wanted to go and hit up every single optional side quest, boss, everything else under the sun. But there's so many games out right now. I just want to be able to try to play as much throughout this year as possible.
Fair.
Expedition 33 is developed in the very first game, developed by Sandfall Interactive. Fun thing about Sandfall Interactive is this game was made by a development team of about 30 people. All of which in France, and is actually mostly a former Ubisoft dev team that wanted to be able to create their own story. And candidly, from what I saw in an interview, the creator of the game said he was a little bored with what they were doing with over at Ubisoft and wanted to do something that was a lot more fun. Game was published.
Ubisoft, though, makes sense. Hence the French.
Yes, hence the French. The game was published by Kepler, which is the same group that did Sifu as well as Scorn, Pacific Drive. So they've been on, and they've only been around for a few years. So they've been really doing good strides on kind of banger after banger after banger. This game is it's kind of like a JRPG. I've been jokingly calling it an FRPG because it's a French role-playing game as opposed to a Japanese role-playing game, but it has that very similar turn-based mechanic that you would anticipate from a JRPG, but with some really cool added elements to it. This game, though, the universe itself that they've created for it is really really cool and really really interesting. The whole premise of this whole game is in this kind of dark fantasy world, um, that is initially focused on this like isolated island town called Lumiere, and in this universe, over the past I think it like 67 years, uh, people have been suffering from like this event called the Gamage, or really what it is essentially every year, um, based off of a number that the antagonist known as the Paintress, which is like this kind of deity creature thing, will draw a number that I cannot say words. Sequentially go down from 100 down every year. The number goes down, and anyone that is that age or older becomes Gamage, which is essentially their own version of being Thanos, being completely eradicated from this world.
Well, there won't be anyone older, because they're all already gone.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been going on for 67 years at the point of entry for the game. So the number is now 33. So anyone that is 33 or older will immediately cease to exist and literally get turned into flower petals, which is kind of a really cool way of having someone get disintegrated in a beautiful way.
Interesting.
It's
This game's opening cutscene.
Yeah.
Opening 30 minutes fucking punches you in the gut.
Yes,
Like,
I will say this game is going to be a little difficult to be able to fully talk about. I can give a little bit like I did just now on kind of like the premise and a little bit of the plot of the game, but I really don't want to go too deep into the story at all because this story is incredible. It's incredibly rich. It is wildly heartfelt. There have been more twists and turns throughout this game than I can really think of that I've experienced in a game in of itself. The last time I could think of like really big shocking twists and turns, was the Last of Us Part 2. I think it's the last thing that I can think of that had a huge shock factor, and then several subsequent shock factors as well.
yeah.
But this game originally focuses on Lumiere, and you play as a character named Gustav who is joining something called the Expedition. The Expedition is essentially a group of people, traditionally those that are in the last year of their life before being Gamage, going off of the island and onto the main continent to see if they would be able to confront and inevitably be able to defeat the Paintress, ending the cycle of the Gamage, so that way the people of Lumiere and around the world would be able to live past that set in stone year date that she creates every single year.
Yeah,
Um,
and in case it's not obvious, considering that the number 33 just got painted, the previous, I don't know, 80 odd some expeditions have all not been successful.
Correct. Yes, they have all failed um, up until us starting this game. Again, the genre I was kind of describing, it's kind of like a JRPG.
Mechanically, yeah.
Mechanically speaking, where it feels like when you as opposed to creatures that are kind of existing out in the wild, when you get near them, it engages into a fight sequence very similar to like what you would expect from a classic JRPG of like a older Final Fantasy, a Pokemon game. It has a very stylistic approach to it, very akin to like the Persona series. Is what visually it kind of gives me as far as like the options on the screen when you're going through battle sequences. But it has a unique system of not only when you choose an attack, having to engage with the screen by timing buttons at a specific time to do added damage or effects to it, but there's equally when it's the enemy's turn to be able to attack you, there is dodging and parrying mechanics that are put into it to really kind of keep you on edge and on seat and really be dialed in throughout. I
Turn-based Dark Souls.
It really
is
is. It's a
yeah.
very much a turn-based Souls-like game. Like it is very, very, very much like that. I will tell you, I am a very big Soulsborne Souls-like fan. I love the crap out of them, but I will tell you, I am terrible, terrible at parrying. And parrying is something that for me personally, in the approach I took, because it does have three different levels of difficulty, which is story, standard, and hurt me plenty. And I chose the hurt me plenty because I'm a masochist, I guess, when it comes to gaming.
And to
Pairing,
be fair, I'm playing it on story difficulty, and it is still a challenge
yeah.
to a hefty degree. Sometimes there are you can take more punishment, but there are some boss battles where missing a dodge it will still fuck you up pretty bad.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and that's the
and
thing.
it's because the game wants you to rely so heavily on dodge and parry mechanics, your defense by default is way lower than any of your other stats. So my advice to people who aren't good at the dodge and parry mechanics, if you want to make this as easy as possible on yourself, play on story difficulty and pump most of your points into defense at least until they're in the at least the low hundreds. Otherwise you're gonna get hit a lot and you're gonna take a lot of damage, and
Yeah.
you may have to rely on characters with healing abilities here, because there's a surprising amount of Magic the Gathering mechanics in this too,
There
kind
is.
of.
I would
You
agree
know,
with you on that. I will say, for me personally, my playstyle, I did the I did the inverse of what Justin did, and
you went
I
glass cannon.
yeah, and I even made the joke of I'm not even a glass cannon. I'm a Fabergé egg bazooka here, where I have
Yeah, fair,
nothing.
yeah.
I have nothing on my defense. I am strictly speed, and I am strictly attack and critical hits. Like that is what I'm going. I'm swinging for the fences, and I'm swinging with all I got. But for most engagements that I would have, whether it be a boss or just a standard enemy, I can typically take two hits, and I'm dead. That's the most I can get out of any fight sequence. So I have to be really on the nose with pairing, and it took some time to really get used to it. And I will say I appreciate this game because it's turn based and it does have that slightly slower mechanic than like full live fighting. Um, it made me feel a lot more comfortable with learning how to parry, which I'm honestly very excited to jump into something like Elden Ring Night Rain that's going to be coming out later, and feeling a lot more confident in my parrying abilities and wanting to actually strive towards parrying now.
Fair enough. My experience with this game has been that I love the story, but god damn it, I get so frustrated with the gameplay sometimes, and it's because of how unfair it sometimes feels if you do fuck up missing. I also um am not very good at picking up on the audio cues, so I have to actually get hit a couple times to memorize their patterns before I can know exactly when I'm supposed to dodge.
Yeah,
It's a pattern memorization thing for me. But then certain bosses they will do that, but then in the second half of the battle they'll use the same attacks, but they'll switch up which part of it goes when, and then you got to
yep,
relearn the shit. And I'm like, oh fuck you. There is something though. I roller coaster between being aggravated as shit, but then like once I get past that point, it's and I like make a miraculous comeback in a particular fight or whatever, and I'm doing good, you know. In layman terms, when I'm doing well, I'm happy, and when I'm not, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's and in this game that happens a lot because it is so devilishly fucking difficult.
yeah,
I'm not to be honest because I'm going into this as a turn-based RPG fan, and it definitely caters a bit more towards Souls fans in terms of the challenge aspect.
yeah.
Also, the flags are bonfires. Like that's
That's what exactly what they are. They are full on
yeah.
bonfires. But no, I've loved it. I genuinely, truly, to my core. I do like the kind of gameplay loop with it, where the game, once you start really getting into it, becomes kind of this giant open hub map where it's like little small worlds that you go to, and it's kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
go to this world, progress through this linear-ish map. There may be an optional boss or two that you can go and take on in it. You find the big baddie at the end, you take on the big baddie, you move the story forward, and you rinse and repeat. And honestly, because the
Yeah, the
story...
enemies look like Dark Souls monsters too,
Oh,
especially the
yeah.
strong ones hiding in the corners.
Oh,
That
yeah.
can, wait, yeah,
Those are the fun ones.
little bit scary looking. This is very gothic, I would
Yes,
say.
it is a full-fledged dark fantasy French game. I will say the art direction that they went with it does feel very French. Like there are certain cutscenes that take like a 1940s French cinema black and white grainy
Mm-hmm.
filter to it that I think is
Mm-hmm.
really really cool. For me as someone who loves movies a lot and actually enjoy a lot of foreign films and a lot of French films, I thought this was a really cool and it was just a very French take. Not to mention, there's a lot of incredible RPG elements to it, but there's one aspect of being able to swap out outfits in the game. My favorite
Yeah,
outfit that I made my entire team have by the end of the game is literally black slacks, a black and white horizontal line shirt with suspenders, a red beret, sunglasses, and then they're wearing like a picnic table cover, like like a sachet, but with a giant baguette on their back. It's like the most French thing I could have ever thought of for an outfit. It's the funniest thing, and I love it so much. Um,
the overworld map, by the way, classic Final Fantasy.
oh yeah,
My advice to people: whenever you're on that map, go to your camp because there are opportunities there if you interact with the campfire and the other characters to not only up your relationship with the other characters, which unlocks new attacks in combat and stuff, but also interacting with the campfire can lead to you filling out this journal for one of the characters with new information, as well as unlocking special cutscenes that you can't see anywhere else in the
yeah.
game. And some of those cutscenes have some pretty fucking vital information in them, if I'm being honest.
No,
Yeah. So, and also, just because you hung out with a character at the camp while you were there and their level went up already doesn't mean that they're done. If you go talk to them again, they'll have the same dialogue, but if it says do you want to spend time with them, if it asks you that, then that means there's still another opportunity to level up.
yeah.
If it doesn't ask you that, then it means they're done for now.
Yep.
So maximize that
It's
potential.
and I want to one thing I really want to highlight that I absolutely loved is I genuinely did not think I was going to come across another game this year that had a equal level, if not potentially better score than South of Midnight until I played Expedition 33. The music
Mm-hmm.
in this game is some of the most amazing, like dramatic, incredible songs I've ever heard. The kind of
Oh yeah, the
title
soundtrack's a
theme.
straight banger.
Oh yeah, the title theme, like I catch myself daily humming along to it. Not even playing the game, just hanging out at my house, just like literally humming along to it just because it's so infectious. The craziest part of this whole story, again, this game being made by only 30 people of a former major conglomerate, the person that composed all of this music, the creative director found a kind of a literal no name that had a SoundCloud account that was composing music, really liked what they were doing, was like, hey, I want you to help create the music for this game. And it's some of the most awe inspiring and incredible music I've ever heard in any game. And that's such a cool little, like, fun story background from it. I know, Justin, you said earlier that this game is a little bit more geared for those that enjoy Souls-like or Soulsborne-esque games. I think that if you
I
are,
think it's a proper way to say it is that it's geared more towards the
and yeah,
challenge.
I
And it is because, like I said, even on story difficulty, there are some fights where if you don't if you don't dodge and you don't parry, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I would say if you are a fan of those things, this game is definitely for you. If you're a fan of JRPGs, this game is definitely for you. Even if you don't like JRPGs, because there's so much activity in the sequencing of fighting. I still think this game is for you. This
Basically, it's the mechanics from Legend of Dragoon, Paper Mario, and South Park Stick of Truth, but more difficult.
Yeah, no, and
is the best way to put it.
Like the only drawback I had playing this entire game was really just like really small kind of quality of life things. Like I wish there was better camera control in certain aspects, especially when you get into like certain very, very linear kind of like not dungeon crawler, but you're going through like a cave, and you can very easily, from the way the cameras work, miss a total one-off path that maybe has an optional boss, some cool gear, a new Pictos, something of that nature. I wish like that was a little bit better.
I like traveling as Lune because she glides and it feels very smooth. No footstep noises.
Yeah, also no footstep noises. No, I usually travel as Lune myself. Like, she was a constant part of my team from the very beginning to the very end. No, I love this game. Like, there's a few little nitpicky things I have, really, just like not on the performance, because visually it's striking. It's some of the most beautiful graphics I've seen from this year's games. I struggle, again, very hard giving 10 out of 10. So for me, this game was a 9.5 out of 10.
Fair enough. I'm only a little bit behind you. I have to be objective with this one, because if I allow my frustrations to take over my opinion, then I will be unfair. So I have to objectively give it a 9 out of 10. I think it is. I have to be, I have to set aside my personal issues for this one, because I think it's more of a me problem than it is a problem with the game. That being said, it could do with some more accessibility options to make the game a bit more playable for, say, older or disabled people.
Yeah.
I don't think that would hurt it at all, quite frankly. They already have auto QTEs. They could do something like adding button prompts to the dodging and shit.
Yeah, either that or even just like a auto dodge option that it just dodges it so you can be able to enjoy the story fully. I could see that being something that it could have been added, exactly. But regardless, I thoroughly loved it. Like, if I can't recommend this game enough. It is my number 2 game of this year. I genuinely don't think anything is going to dethrone KCD 2 for me. And damn it, Nick! Like, good for you for getting Expedition 33 on your fantasy, because it's currently the highest rated game at a 93 of 2025 so far.
It's not 92 anymore; it's 93 now.
Yeah, you bastard.
Yes.
That being said, Nick, I'm very happy and proud that you're willing to give this game a chance. But I am telling you, for your playstyle, you're going to want to take my advice and play on story mode.
Oh, I plan on it.
No, Fabergé egg bazooka your way to glory.
He's not going to be able to, Brooksy. He's going to get hit a lot in this game. I'm telling you right now. It's just, yeah.
I'm fully preparing myself to.
I'll be surprised if you actually finish the game, to be honest. But at least you're going to try it.
Yeah, so. I'm going to try it. I'm fully preparing myself with how you guys were describing it. I don't think I'm going to get far.
You should be prepared for a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah,
I will tell you this. I think that if you complete Act 1, if you can get through Act 1, the story is going to hook you so deeply that you're going to want to see it through the end. Which is exactly...
At the very least, start the expedition. Like, actually get out of the town. Because there's not really any combat there that's not a tutorial.
Fair enough.
You don't do any real fighting until you actually start the expedition. So, and you're gonna want to see the cutscene that comes next. Trust me.
Oh man.
At the very least, you're gonna want to see that.
All right.
But gameplay wise, if I was a gambling man, I would put money on you actually liking Avowed more.
Okay.
Quite frankly. because it's basically Skyrim.
Yeah.
And you love Skyrim, so 100%. I think that'll be more your speed.
Fair enough.
Quite frankly. So if you end up not liking Expedition 33, or not even not liking it, but if it's too hard, then try that next.
Okay.
I would say
All right.
is probably.
It's
another new one this year, so it'll keep you in the conversation.
I'm close to finishing South of Midnight.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm on chapter
That one's-
8 or 9.
That one's definitely in the top 10 this year as well. Okay. So we're going to go in the same order because I want Nick to hear this, and it's going to be really short.
Okay.
Because this is not a very in-depth movie, but I watched something earlier today that was really fun and funny, and I had a good time. It was a good, dumb, fun time. It's called Novocaine. Have either of you seen this?
No,
No,
I have
I'm
not, but I
needing to
want
see it.
It's,
I want to
it's
see it.
on my list, and I know it's on Paramount Plus right now, isn't it?
So you know about it. Okay, good.
Yes,
All right.
I
So
know about it.
It stars Jack Quaid, who you'll both recognize as Huey from The Boys.
Yes.
And this movie is about a guy who has a special disease where he can't feel pain, right? So
man. Okay.
yeah, so this leads to some crazy shit. So he's also just like your typical like proper white guy bank manager, but when his new girlfriend gets kidnapped and taken hostage by some bank robbers, he takes advantage of the fact that he can't feel pain to go hunt them down and get her back. And this leads to some of the craziest, most cringe-inducing fight scenes I've ever seen, but I mean cringe in like a painful way, because the thing is, he can't feel pain, but the shit that he does because he can't feel pain still looks painful to me, someone who can, Like, I don't care if you can't feel pain, you stick your hand in a fucking deep fryer, I'm still gonna say ouch, because that looks ouch.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but like, throughout the events of this movie, this man's body becomes so bloody, bruised, beaten, and broken. He's like a walking corpse by the end of it, but he can't feel pain. So it's just, he just keeps going and going like he's just on pure adrenaline, and it's insane. It leads to there's a lot of genuinely funny moments in this movie. Like, it is actually pretty funny. Jack Quaid gives off major Jesse Eisenberg energy here, but like in a good way.
Okay.
In some scenes, there's a pretty fucking hilarious scene involving hot sauce that I know Nick will appreciate. There's some great one-liners in here. It's your typical action movie romp, but it's like part comedy, part action, part thriller. It's kind of dark comedy. It's super violent and gory too. Like, they don't hold back on that.
Bet.
And it's I don't want to say it's tongue-in-cheek, but it's definitely like, it's the kind of movie that knows what it is, But it's not like breaking the fourth wall and being all meta about it. It just revels in its own fluorescence, I guess you could say. It is such a fun movie. It's not a thinking movie, really. There's not a whole lot. There are, however, some really interesting surprises in this movie. Some very interesting plot twists that I did not see coming, actually. To be completely honest with you, there was like one in particular that I was like, "Oh shit! Oh damn! Okay," that kind of recontextualizes things. So I was surprised. And there is a surprise actor in this movie that I was not expecting either. I'll just say that. Anyone who's seen the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies will be familiar with this actor, and I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
When that person came on screen and I saw who it was, I was like, oh, I was like that Leonardo meme. I like pointed at the screen and shit. I was like, oh, that's the person from The Thing. Yeah. I know that guy. It's not without its like, flaws. There are a few things where you have to suspend your disbelief here. There are some things here that don't work. Cops not behaving like cops would in real life type shit, and some other things that don't make sense. Like, like, well, if you can't, like, if you couldn't taste the pie, then, or like if you were worried about eating the pie, then how could you taste the I don't there was some shit that bothered me, like some inconsistencies, that, like, some contradictions that I had to wave away in my mind, but like I could just fucking hear CinemaSins in my head, like, on some of this shit, you know. So yeah, but I am going to give it, it's an above average violent action movie comedy. I would say, not average, above average. Like, it's better than most of the stuff that's like it. I would put it up there with the Bob Odenkirk movie Nobody, honestly. In terms of that kind of thing. So I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Honestly,
Okay.
Nice.
is where I'm gonna sit on it. I was gonna go with 8, but fuck it, 8.5, because quite frankly, I had a lot of fun. I walked away from that with a big smile on my face, like, you know what, that was a fun movie. So, fucking, I need to see Jack Quaid in more shit like that. It was funny. It was
He's
funny.
in Companion.
So, oh, is he? All right then.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Nick, your second item for us.
Heart Eyes. I just watched this last night. It's the movie that came out on Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
It is about a killer wearing a mask with hearts for eyes who goes around every Valentine's Day killing couples.
Friday the 13th meets My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, dude. It might as well have been.
Oh, do go on.
Oh, my
Don't
God.
hold back.
Fucking... Okay. I saw... Not... Exactly that. Fucking My Bloody Valentine and Friday the 13th had a fucking love child, and this came out. It had some... It's your typical slasher film. It was a slasher / dark comedy / romance. It was all over.
You sound
the
so
dude,
confused.
I like the question mark on romance.
Dude,
So it was campy.
yes.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh my God. No, this movie was all over the goddamn place.
B movie pretending to be mainstream.
Ish.
Okay. Well, how was the gore?
Oh, fantastic. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Loved that. That was the only consistent part.
I mean, isn't that what we go to slashers for, anyways? To
Yes.
see stupid teenagers get killed while having sex.
Yeah. I mean, there was one sex scene, but everything was below camera shot.
Tastefully censored.
Yes.
Yes.
Is this an R or PG-13 movie? It's got to be R if it's gory.
Hold on. R.
Yeah,
It is
beats
an R.
right.
It is R.
Huh. Fair enough. Does the killer in this movie kind of like stand up to other great other slasher villains? Like, do you see them being nominated at the Dead Meat Awards or anything?
Possibly. I could even say that this goes as far as being I don't want to spoil it because I know you guys are planning on watching this, but it's kind of hard not to because there's another movie. I'll say it, but I'm not going to say why.
I think I know what you're gonna say. I've seen people compare it to something.
Scream.
Yup, there it is. It's like Scream. Okay.
Like the Scream
I think I know.
movies.
I think I know what you mean by that. You did mention to me that the movie had a pretty interesting twist too.
Oh yeah,
so-
absolutely it did.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet, but like the moment you told me that, I went and found it. So
Fair enough. Yeah,
I was like, all right,
it's
we'll see for ourselves.
it's streaming on Netflix.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so a slasher movie about Valentine's Day that is comparable to Scream, maybe not in quality, but in terms of narrative formatting.
7.5 out of 10.
Is that your rating?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you barely ever give anything below a 8, so that alone tells me the quality of movie that this is.
This is a Mufasa rating.
Dude, it was
He
good.
gave Mufasa a 7.
It was good, but
God, have you ever
Look-
given anything below a 7?
yes.
Oh.
It did. Oh, you have?
I
There
think
was animosity in that tone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think yeah.
Oh yeah, it was that stupid Megamind show.
Yeah, it was. What did I give that? I forget.
Like a 6 or a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said it was bad.
It was horrendous.
Well, I don't know how Nick weights his scales, but for me personally, I'm going off 90s school letter grades. So, like, a 9 is an A, an 8 is a B, a 7 is a C, a 6 is a D. So those are all good. Those are all passing
Right.
scores. 5 and below is failing, so therefore that's where all the bad goes. If it's a 5 or below, it means I didn't like it, and at that point it's a scale of how much I didn't like it. 6 or above means I liked it, but it just means a scale of how much I liked it, with 10 being I thought it was flawless, and 6 meaning I barely liked it, but I liked it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So a 7.5 is almost an 8. That's a C+. So to me, that's like average. That's just like it's a mindless popcorn
It's
flick.
a turn your
is what
it's a
that
turn
says.
your brain off kind of movie.
Okay.
Right.
Hack and
But even turn your brain off movies can sometimes be better than
It's-
that. Like Novocaine, for example.
it's your typical slasher film.
Fair enough. Well, at least now I know what to expect going into it,
Yeah.
honestly.
I wasn't
Um,
overly impressed, but yeah, when that twist came, I'm like, fucking Scream.
Twist brought it from a 7 to a 7.5, I guess.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I could respect that then. It's our numbers are all over the place today. I like that. Well, if you can spare a few more minutes, Brooksy's going to finish us up with a review for
I have
Sinners, which he says
one
will
more.
be short.
I have one more thing after his thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time talking about Expedition 33, so I'm not going to go too crazy deep into this or anything. The other media piece I wanted to talk about that I saw was Sinners, which is the new Ryan Coogler film that came out.
Been waiting to hear
those
about
that-
this.
Yeah, for those that may not know, Ryan Coogler is the person that directed and wrote the first Creed movie, also did both Black Panther movies, and this was his first debut as director, writer, and producer. And when I say that this is my favorite movie that I have seen throughout the 2020s, I mean that wholeheartedly with every fiber of my being. Prior to that, my favorite movie was not Past Lives. It was Past Lives.
So your favorite movie in the past 5 years?
In the past 5 years, honestly, like, it's a toss up between either this or the movie Perfect Days, which are two very, 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 very different movies.
That's saying
but
a lot because Talk to Me is pretty up there.
Talk to Me is in my top 5, but I am honestly really struggling on whether my favorite movie of the 2020s being either Perfect Days that came out a couple of years ago, or Sinners. This movie, it really circulates around Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan playing identical twins. Movie is set in the it's set in like the early 1930s, like kind of like World War I post era. In the South, it feels very much like Louisiana, Mississippi, kind of an area. I cannot remember the exact name of the town that they were
Okay.
in, but it's set in the 30s. It's set in the South, like real, true Creole, Cajun kind of feel to it. The whole premise is these two brothers, they were spending time up in Chicago, came back down to the South where they're originally from, with a fat pocket full of money and wanted to buy a sawmill and turn it into a juke joint. Juke joint basically being like a nightclub, but traditionally speaking, juke joints were really intended for the black community in the South, because in the 30s of the United States, things were what we would call segregated at that time.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this movie is where they are working on setting up this juke joint, and in the process of it, there is this entity kind of in the lurking background that comes more forward front of vampires, in southern Louisiana, Mississippi, kind of an area, and this movie blends horror elements with suspense elements, with action and drama elements, and a lot of comedic elements as well. It's such a hodgepodge of just every single genre that you could really think of for a movie, all wrapped up into one. It's gorgeously shot. It is incredibly well acted. The story is captivating. It is a bit of a slow burn for the first hour of it, really just kind of like laying down the foundation of what this world is, who these different characters are, how they know one another. Um, and then just like full descends into absolute chaos and madness.
Right. Is it a
Um,
spoiler to say what kind of supernatural element this movie
no,
contains?
no, it's directly shown in trailers, which is why I
Okay.
had no problem saying vampire. Um,
Okay.
that's the only, yeah. I because I wanted to double check that
Cause,
because I
'cause
remember seeing it.
I wanted to ask. I've seen people say that this movie is very similar to From Dusk Till Dawn. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. I think it's like it's a bit of From Dusk Till Dawn. It's actually quite a bit of From Dusk Till Dawn. It's got quite a bit of like Interview with a Vampire elements to it,
Ooh,
because
okay.
again, it's set in that bayou, that atmosphere vibe,
I
like,
also heard
and
a little Blade too,
a
maybe.
little Blade in it as well,
Nice.
and also like kind of the comedic aspects of Blade as well. Like there are so many moments that like I felt myself like belly aching laughing, and there are so many moments of like justification in it. The ending sequence of the movie is like one of those like hell yeah brother moments of like, I was like, I just want to go out and fight someone. This is so awesome. Like this is so, oh, it's so good. And on top of everything, Nick, I know you are a big fan of musicals, and I am not going to say that this movie is a musical, but there are a handful of separate acts within the movie of music scores and music scenes of people singing, and this movie has wicked level songs in it, in my personal opinion. But
Oh.
think 30s Creole Southern Cajun, think a notch above what I listen to in South of Midnight. Like
Ooh.
it is some of the best music I have heard in any movie. Like it is a movie that I have not only seen once, I went back and saw it again in theaters. I'm probably going to go see it a third time in theaters. I will own a collector's edition of this on Blu-ray. I couldn't stress how incredible this movie really is. I don't want to go into a lot of the story itself because again, like, you know that there's some supernatural elements. You know there's vampire from being able to watch the full trailer of it. But I don't want to give anything else because it is something that is worth seeing. I personally because they this movie's done incredibly well. They made the budget for this movie was like $90 million. It's already done over $300 million domestically. They've even re-brought it back into theaters because of popular demand. If you can see it on the biggest screen possible, oh man, there is no better way to see this movie in my personal opinion. Um, Again, I very rarely ever give these out. I really didn't think I was going to be giving out two in a year, let alone in the first half of the year. This movie's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh
This movie
shit.
is hands down, without a question. This is a 10 out of 10 experience. This is Michael B. Jordan's crowning achievement. This is Ryan Coogler's crowning achievement. And there's a brand new actor that it's their acting debut. That plays a character named Sammy in it. I genuinely cannot wait to see what more of this person does in their acting career. Please, if you're listening to this, for the love of everything that is good and holy, go and see that movie.
I have not even watched a trailer for this, and I want
Ooh,
to.
okay.
So I just hearing you talk about it, I'm excited to see it. I don't know if I'll
It,
gonna be able to go see it at the theater.
Fair.
However,
You have a lot on your plate with the movies already.
yes,
It's
I
on its
do.
way out the. It's on its way out the door too,
Yeah,
Yeah.
theater wise. So
I
it'll be on streaming in like a month and a half.
yeah.
Yeah. I will
I'm
say,
gonna.
like,
I'm predicting it's gonna come to Peacock.
Probably that would be a pretty safe assumption. I honestly I'm not sure if it is like got a week or two left. I honestly think this movie has a month left in theaters. I looked at the AMC right around the corner from us, which is kind of one of the smaller ones, albeit the nicest one in San Diego. But they have nine showings of it tomorrow, and the movie's been out for like a month and a half. Like it has more than Minecraft movie and several other movies. I think
Oh
it
yeah.
has.
I'm used to only having access to a smaller theater that only has 9 screens and has to
Yeah.
prioritize new releases.
Yep, that's what I have here in Poway. It has the same amount of viewings available as Thunderbolts, and that just came out 2 weekends ago.
Um. All right, Nick, you said you had a surprise third thing for us, and then when
Yes.
he's done, when he's done with that, I'm assuming you'll have to bounce after that. But if you don't mind sticking around a minute, Brooksy, I might actually have a surprise third thing too. I've been sitting
You
on it for
know,
a while.
I could throw in a surprise thing as myself as well that I've been playing recently.
All right, perfect. What's your surprise third thing, Nick?
So there's this show on Peacock that Sarah and I have been watching called Grosse Point Garden Society.
Okay.
It follows 4 members of a suburban garden club as they get caught up in murder and mischief as they survive to flourish. It is a whodunit crime drama mystery.
Okay.
And the way, like, from the very beginning, we know someone's dead. But in every episode, they try and throw you off as to who. Now,
Hmm.
the show's not done. There's 13 episodes, and I think the final episode dropped yesterday. So
Okay.
Sarah and I will have to watch the final episode tomorrow.
So season 1 is done.
Yeah, season 1 is done. It's getting so good. I am dreading the finale, the season finale, because I know if it's getting renewed, it's going to leave it off on a bit of a cliffhanger. And I'm really invested in this show. It's so fucking good.
Okay. Sounds like I'm gonna have to give this a look. I like the sound of it.
It's a good one. I was hooked from episode 1.
I like the premise.
Yeah, it started in February.
Okay. So you're all but one episode through season one, and so maybe the finale would change this after the fact, but for now, what would you rate the first season?
9 out of 10.
Okay. And if it's a good finale or a bad finale, does that change that score, do you think?
Potentially.
Okay. Okay. Like, I was going to say, if it's a good finale, does it stay at a 9? Does it go up to a 10? If it's a bad finale, does it go down to an 8? You know, that kind of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really really enjoying this show.
Okay. All right. Well, um, I'm about to talk about an A24 movie, but I'm assuming you have to take your out.
For it. I want to
Oh,
hear
you're good.
I want to hear about this A24 movie.
Okay, so I've been sitting on this for a while. I was gonna talk about it on several different episodes, and just it kept getting pushed back by other things. I know Nick. I think you said this was on your list of things to watch at some point. Or maybe you have by now. I don't know. It's the A24 movie Y2K.
Oh, yes, I did
Um,
watch this.
oh, you did watch it. Okay, good,
Yes.
good. Well, you can give a little. Then you can give a little input too. Have you seen this, Brooksy?
Wait, seen which one?
Y2K.
Y2K.
No, I've been meaning to watch it, but it's on my need to watch list.
Okay, okay. So this movie is basically the best way to explain it. Superbad meets Maximum Overdrive. It imagines an alternate history where the Y2K bug came true and the machines are rising. Basically, the technology fights back,
This
and
shit
it
was
is
fucking
so
nuts.
it is so BattleBots that I can't,
Yes.
like
Yes.
it is. But like that's what I mean by Maximum
I'm
Overdrive.
glad
Like
I'm
it's
not the
very
only
like
one.
it's basically if Stephen King was a teenage stoner comedy. Like if Stephen King wrote a teenage stoner comedy is basically the best way to put it. It is the most like late '90s, early 2000s thing I've ever seen in my life. On purpose, of course. This is definitely a dark comedy horror movie for stoners. Like 100%, this is a stoner movie, but also a sci-fi thriller. Um, and it should come as no surprise because the guy behind it, Kyle Mooney, who is a former SNL cast member, and he's also in the movie as the
Yes, he
pothead
is.
video store guy. um,
Yup.
this is a hilarious movie. A lot of it's played for laughs, like when the machines start rising, like the guys, it's people are losing fights against like sentient blenders and hair razors. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny as hell seeing a guy get his face torn apart by a thing meant to cut your hair, because it and like losing that fight. It's clearly this is a goofy splatterfest movie for the
Yeah.
most part, and it's intentionally designed to look as like early 2000s as possible. Like it's vintage on purpose. I get a lot of like VHS tape vibes from some of the visuals, and especially the shit on the computer when they're on the computer later. Um, it is, but yeah, it's funny, it's exciting. There's actually a genuinely surprising amount of good character development in this movie too. Especially there are some bullies that end up redeeming themselves by the end of the movie. There is the main protagonist especially probably goes through the most development, and some things happen that I won't spoil that I feel, although shocking at first, were necessary in order for him to get where he gets as a character by the end of the movie, I think. Um, I was surprised at how much I liked this stupid movie, honestly. Like, it's dumb as hell, but I really enjoyed it. Um, it is, for me, uh, my gut says 7 out of 10, but honestly, I think it's an 8. I think it deserves more than that. I think it's an 8 out of 10. What would you have given it, Nick?
About that, yeah.
Like a 7 or 8?
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, because at its core, it really is just a goofy ass stoner movie.
It really
but,
is.
Like, but about robots killing people. um, but it does what it does. Like if you've ever seen Bodies, 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 you get the vibe that they're going for here. A24 is like big on this kind of shit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it's definitely something like that. So yeah, that's what I would give it. What is your surprise third thing, Brooksy? I think Nick will want to hear at least what it is before.
Yeah, I was
At
actually
least
going
the
to
name
talk.
of it.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Doom: The Dark Ages.
Okay. You want to hear about this?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. And I'm gonna keep it relatively brief, just because I'm about a third of the way
This'll
through.
this'll be our last thing.
Okay, cool, awesome. I'm about a third of the way through. It's Doom's been around for a long time, so I really don't feel like I need to really delve into the universe of Doom. It really, once again, revolves around the Slayer. I feel like trying to talk about Doom. Doom's been around for an incredibly long time. Um, Everybody knows who the Slayer is, and everyone knows that there is technically a story for every Doom game. Yet for the life of me, could not tell you what the actual Doom lineage is. I just know that I go in, I move around really fast, I blow up a bunch of stuff, and I have a great time doing it. Doom: The Dark Ages is a bit of a different take on the style they've had with its last two predecessors, including Doom Eternal as well as Doom 2016, where it's a little bit slower. And when I say slower, it's not slow. It's still a Doom game, but it's not as like full on whiplash moving around at like super lightning speed like what it was in Doom Eternal. It takes a little bit of backseat, but it adds some new mechanics into it. You have a shield in this game. Um, and there's a parry system that comes along with it, that you have a lot of projectiles that are shot at you or thrown at you, that certain ones will come out and they'll be green, and those are essentially parryable projectiles that are shot at you, that you can click your left trigger and be able to parry it and reflect it directly back at them. The parry system they have, especially just because I'm very fresh off of Expedition 33, um, it is definitely a very large window. I'm only playing it on the Hurt Me Plenty mode, which is the normal level of difficulty. There's like 6 levels of harder past that, but I'm traditionally not a first-person shooter fan. I will make exceptions to it. I still think that Resistance 3 is the greatest first-person shooter that's ever come out. I do love the Doom games, and there's a couple here and there that I like, but the world itself is incredibly gorgeous. It runs incredibly well on Xbox. I've been playing it through Game Pass myself. It looks like it's running at 60 frames per second. The deaths are just about as gruesome as ever. There's a lot of really cool, unique weapons that are kind of a tie into this like almost like a slight medievalish world, but also still futuristic and kind of spacey at the same time. Like you have like plasma blasters as an option of a weapon, but on your left side you've got a shield that's got a chainsaw around the rim on it that you can literally like destructo disc throw at enemies, and smaller ones it'll slice them right in half. The other ones it'll catch them in their chest and just keeps going while they're like kind of like glitching out for a moment. Um,
Nice.
it's a lot of fun. I will say I've especially Doom 2016 is my favorite music from any Doom game. This one's a little bit more muted. It's not as adrenaline pumping as 2016 or Doom Eternal, but it's still really solid music with it. Again, I'm about a
Yeah, no,
third
the
of
medieval fantasy aspect makes me want to play this one more than the other
yeah,
two.
and I will say, so for me personally, like the super crazy fast, like it's cool, but I really just like the goriness of the game and all of that. The slower aspect is actually something I really like.
It's because
The
it's more
parry,
melee based, right? That's
yes, it
why.
is a lot more melee based. Like you can literally like lock onto a target and lock on with your left trigger and then hit right trigger, and he like flies across the map and just smashes his shield right into him. If it's smaller enemy, they explode. It's awesome. Um, it's just dumb fun. Like, and I think after playing a game that was as story rich and honestly a very heart-wrenching story all throughout for Expedition 33 to move over to something that is kind of like on the mindless side of things, and you're just trying to kill a bunch of stuff and have a good time doing it. This is a great transition for me. There's a lot of really cool elements that they add in. Like something that's shown in trailers is you do get the opportunity to hop into a giant Gundam-like mecha suit and just pummel the shit out of people with your fists or with lasers kind of towards the end of a mission. And that's literally like there's 22 missions. Mission 3 is when you hop into a mech suit for the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Nice.
this
This
is
one
it.
has this one has a more cinematically presented narrative than its predecessors. I've
It
heard, right?
does.
Because they wanted to appeal more to story gamers this time around.
Yes, and I will say like it. I will tell you like it's basically at the very beginning and at the very end of each mission. There's like a 2 to 3 minute long cutscene to add to the world, but again, I've never really paid that much attention to the stories on the former Doom games because it was more of like
Because it's because they were non-existent. Like Souls
exact
games, they were mostly lore based.
exactly. So like me like watching it, I'm like I have no idea what's going on. I don't care. I'm about to kill a bunch of demons, and this is gonna be awesome.
Right, those were
Um,
pure gameplay games. This
exactly.
one I've heard though has a bit more of a story focus.
There is a
little
bit, yeah, there is a bit more of a story to it. And I watch the cutscenes and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like it's not why I'm there. It's really
Such
not
a
why
nice
I'm
way
there.
of saying you don't give a shit at all about the story.
I do not.
Like,
And listen, you guys have listened to me drone on for hours about the lore of KCD2 or of Expedition 33 today and like how important stories are to me. When it comes to Doom, I don't give a shit. I want to fuck shit up. Like that is what I want to do.
At least
that
you're
game,
watching the cutscenes, though. There's
I
like,
am.
Yeah, so many people
I
are
am.
like, "Shut the fuck up! Skip cutscene. Let me gore." Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. My wife, she doesn't play games very often, but every time I watch like a very lengthy cutscene, she's like, "Ah, God, why don't you just skip past it?" I was like, "Because it's important for the story. Are you insane?" Doom, I could understand skipping past it. Really, honestly, it doesn't feel that much of a difference to me. But it is over the top, crazy, high octane, adrenaline pumping goodness that is just soothing to the soul. Does it move the needle any farther for the franchise? Not really. Is it earth shattering first person shooting? Again, not really. Is it a shitload of fun though? Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've seen online, it's like a 12 to 15 hour long campaign depending on how you play because there are like certain places that you can kind of go and find like secret chests to get more gold to upgrade your gear and all of that stuff. I haven't really messed around a whole lot with it. I just wanna go and just start blasting. Um, and I think I'm about a third of the way through. I think I've played about 4 hours or so. It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Like it is something that
Oh,
I
I
will
wasn't even gonna ask you to give it a rating yet. I was just gonna call this a
Oh,
recommend. But okay, if you
oh
want
no,
to, I didn't think you were
I
far
don't
enough to
think
have a
I don't.
solidified.
That's the
You
thing
know,
is like the maps will change, the creatures will get slightly larger, or add a new mechanic. I may get another weapon, but I've already gotten like a
okay, so
third of the
you're
way to the
expecting
story.
more of the same. You're expecting
I'm
consistency all the
expecting.
way
I'm
through to the end.
yes.
So
I'm
okay.
expecting basically because like even like a third of the way through the game, there are certain weapons like where like there's a weapon that just shoots a bunch of nails out of it, and then I later on in the game I get another one
I
that
think they call that a
shoots
nail
nails.
gun.
Yeah. Well, they call it like the terrorizer or some
Oh,
weird Doom
I
esque
love
shit.
that though. I love that.
Yeah. And you get a different version of a nail gun later on that's like more sniper but a lot more powerful. And so like I think they're just giving you new weapons to adhere to the slightly stronger enemies, so it doesn't feel like there's ever really like a major ramp in difficulty. I feel like it's going to be kind of the same with just like a little bit new weapons here, there, maybe a new defense mechanic for a boss later on, but I think it's going to be pretty much kind of the same thing throughout. If it changes, I will absolutely let everyone know in next podcast or the following one after that. But I feel pretty confident in saying like it's just a solid 8 out of 10 game. It is just fun. It is enjoyable. You want to kill an hour and do a couple of missions and feel like a god among men. Like yeah, play this game. It's on Game Pass too. Like it's just dumb fun.
8 out of 10. All right, that's a B on the I grew up in the '90s scale.
It is.
All right, yeah, sounds fun. Some of it sounds like Halo. Okay, I'm looking forward to giving it a try once I get some of these other games off my backlog. All right, well, that will do it for this episode, folks. We had a bit of an extended media corner, and that will wrap things up. It's already started, but I can rewind it because of how apps work. But I'm excited to go check out the season finale of Saturday Night Live, which is being hosted by Scarlett Johansson. So I'm hoping for some hilarious weekend update stuff to come out of that. So, anyways. That'll be it for this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And remember to smash that like button if you've seen or played any of this stuff that we talked about today. Also, you can email me at podcastoversoul@gmail.com, and you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Oversoul53. And Nick?
You can find me on all the things at the Gaming Fiend 1.
And Brooksy.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at BrooksyMyBoy with an I at the end.
All right. Music is from Epidemic Sounds, hosted by Podserve FM. Executive producer and personal Nick Wrangler is Sarah. Special thanks to her, and special thanks to you all listening to us out there. And we will see you in the next one. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Later.